Myself, Grishma, Assistant Professor, Vekshetra College, welcomes you to the fifth session of 7-day international webinar on the topic Emerging Trends in Commerce, organized by the PG Department of Commerce, Vekshetra College, Palakkad. First of all, I welcome today's resource person, Mr. Murali Manohar, who is the Head of Finance, Precision Group, Dubai. Mr. Murali is a chartered accountant and he has over 25 years of industrial experience in India and Middle East. It is indeed a privilege for us to have you as our resource person for the webinar. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you, sir, about the topic changing role of CFO. Hearty welcome, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our director, Reverend Dr. Matthew George Weil, our principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony, our vice principal, Reverend Dr. Lalu Ullikal, our HOD, Dr. Matilda Dani, and other faculties to the webinar. Lastly, but most importantly, I welcome our dear participants to the webinar. Once again, welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we have the official message from our bursar of the college, Reverend Father Shaju Angevitil.
I don't know, only I am facing the technical issue. I cannot see anyone. The video is not on.
There is some technical issue, sir. We'll check it.
Yeah.
Emerging trends. Last decade witnessed a huge transformation. Economic and political. There was global economic crisis. There was rising demand, and there was an immense growth of social and digital. All these and some of factors have impact on the role of traditionally, he was a steward to protect and preserve the organization. Was reporting and accounting great for a business. It was a support function. So there is a dramatic transformation from finance-based to insight-driven strategies. Today, we deal with all these matters. And the resource person is Mr. Murali Manohar, CFO of Precision Group, Dubai. He's a native of Palakkad and a man of numerous skill and a lot of experience. I am sure that the session will be an interesting and informative one. I wish you all a nice time ahead and a bright future.
Thank you, Father. Now the session is open to you, sir. I request you to handle the session, please.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you, Grishma, and thank you, Shaju sir, for your kind words. And Director, Reverend Father, Dr. Matthew Warrigal, Principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony, Vice Principal, Reverend Father, Dr. Lalu Ullikal, Head of the Department, Matilda Dani, Organizing Committee, the Technical Committee, and dear students. Very good morning to you all and namaskar. I feel it's my privilege to be with you all today, this morning. And I would say that it is a wonderful way of beginning the day to be in touch with the young people and sharing the knowledge. So here I wanted to emphasize one thing. The current pandemic scenario that has changed the whole world and how the people manage their life, how the industries do the business, how the government coping up with the economic situations. And in these situations, I would appreciate very much the efforts taken by Yuva Management of Institute of Management to ensure that all its students are getting proper learning. In this process, they have ensured that you are at par with anyone who is studying in Metro or any other part of the world and not deprived of any kind of lack in your studies. So that's a very good initiative and appreciative about that. Today's session, it's changing role of CFO. I'm facing small technical issue. I'm not able to see the screen.
Hello, sir. Can you present your screen?
Yeah, are you able to see?
No, sir, it's not visible.
1 minute.
You can click on the present now button, sir.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Is it appearing now?
No, sir. Yeah, it's coming.
All right, so
Yes,
thank
sir.
you very much. So small technical issues. So I'm also not very familiar with the Google Meet, so I don't know, we use here different platforms like Microsoft and all. So it's a technical issue from here on out. So coming to the subject, the changing role of CFO. Here, if you look at it, the three ways, there is a change, there is a role, and CFO. As you know, there are roles in every organization, and there are different functions which is attached to an organization, and CFO handles one of the role, which is very critical in driving the organization. So why that is so important and what is relevant? It should be relevant to you when I'm presenting it. The reason being that all of you are being commerce students and getting into the same fraternity, and how the world is changing and what are the challenging things ahead that we need to foresee in advance and act upon it. When we talk about the change, that particular word itself denotes that moving from one state to another state, or a different role or different responsibilities. The change process itself, it is, somebody is very reluctant to accept it, somebody cope with the changes and move forward, and somebody feels the comfort zone within the current situation. Unless we adapt ourselves to the change, the only situation that we will get perished in the process. So I would like to present a small video, which is very inspiring, and probably you all might have seen that video, or you know the story of the eagle, how it initiates its change and how it cope up with what is to create. I hope you are able to see that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So you might have seen that, the eagle's effort to sustain its life for the next 17 years at the age of 40, it has to undergo a tremendous pain of its plugging its beak, and the claws are grown, and it is not, it cannot more fetch the prey, and even the feathers are grown and it's sticking to the chest. So it undergoes a severe pain and takes the rebirth and takes another 30 years. It is like a rebirth. So in every uh, individual's life, the change process, whether it is individual, society, government, everywhere the change has happened. So there are reasons for that. So today I will touch upon, I have put the entire presentation into 3 buckets. The CFO's role with the 360-degree overview, why the CFO's role is important. So to have a better connect, need to understand why this particular role is so important and what he does, right? And to understand the change, what was before and how it is changing now, and what is driving that change, what is the reason for that change, right? Like what we have seen in the video, there is a reason for change for the eagle, to take the rebirth. Then we'll go to the micro levels and little bit. Here I wanted to give you a broad picture of how the trend is moving, what is expected out of the chief financial officer in driving an organization. So let's first talk about the traditional role. So you'll be able to really connect when we talk about the next stage and how it differentiates and what has got changed, why the traditional roles are no more relevant or less relevant. These things we can understand better. So traditionally, CFOs plays the role more of a stewardship, keeping his resources of the organization, right, ensuring that the proper controls are in place, right, and then measuring the financial performance. That is another key important role of the financial officer. When you all know that, what is meant by the financial performance, and he keeps that, what is the revenue, what are the cost structure, what are the margin levels, what is earning to the shareholders, how the capital is, all this, like a person, he keep the goalpost. So that was the role, like, once that numbers are given, that is like a good level of maintaining the momentum of the organization. Then little bit for the regulatory compliance, that in India also, you will be very familiar that the Companies Act requires certain kind of compliance. When it comes to the financial regulator, the RBI's involvement there, when you have the foreign exchange, the monetary policy, this kind of regulatory policies, tax regulators are there. So certain kind of regulatory compliance was also on its shoulders. Then definitely, when it comes to the annual plans, budgets, forecasts, these are the things that is largely driven by, even though it is an enterprise-wide activity, it is largely driven by the CFO. So the last point, traditionally the CFOs are seen more like a number man, and in the board, these are the things that he used to play. But that role is changing gradually. So I'll explain you. Before that, when we talk about the change, how the change is happening and why the change is necessitated and what drives actually, right? So all you may be familiar with the Industrial Revolution happening from 1716 onwards, right? First, the water and the steam power, they were used to mechanize a little bit, and agriculture was the main area where the people used to concentrate. And after a decade, in 1870, the electricity power started using, and certain kind of mechanization has started. So in those second industrial revolutions, mass production has happened, and especially in the handlooms, textiles, some other metal and all of this stuff. Then almost after one more decade in 1970, the computers and digital things has happened, the advent of those things. So this has changed drastically how the organization works, and gradually people started doing the things to the computers. So it was a major change from how they were doing the things a century ago. From there, the current industrial revolution, which they term it as 4.0, it is a build upon industrial revolution 3, and it is a massive change. And the internet, data is the main things which drives the fourth industrial revolution. Here, the things what we need to understand when we say the digital in fourth industrial revolution, the physical, digital, and biological lines are clearly getting blurred, and it's getting merged. And if you see, I'll give one example and how it is influencing the people, the way they live, and how the organization works, everything, starting from the communication, everything. In 2009, when the Internet of Things, IoT, has happened, close to around 500 million different devices were connected to the net. And the ratio to the population was around 0.5 or 0.8 to that level. And in a decade, this has got changed, and by 10, more than 12.5 billion devices got connected. So the real-time data exchange and the entire connectivity, the potential of this capacity has enormously doubled. And from 2010 to 2020, if you look at it, you know that also gone in a manifold manner. So the human being started using this technology and leveraging for higher productivity, communication, their lifestyles, the healthcare, education, everything. And what we are doing today, it is one of the examples of how the technology is helping us to face different situations. So this is the background. Once I give the background, then why the changes? Because some of the things which were done by the human being and it is taken over by the machines and the technology, and people need to upskill themselves to see the new areas where they can play a role. So this has always happened. There is nothing has prevented. This is where we say that no, we need to understand what is changing and how we need to cope with and what we can do about it. So being commerce students, I understand when I have begun my career, most of the things were manual, doing the and keeping the books of accounts, records, everything manual, and gradually it has got computerized. And today, the real-time data is flowing even without a data entry, where the different technology has captured to bring the data directly from the machine and to put it into your system. So this is the way that over a period, the technology has evolved, and this is posing a challenge. This is giving a big opportunity as well. So we need to see that, the opportunity side of it. There is no way that we can resist the change and we can remain in the cocoon. So before getting into the role, how it is changing, what CFO is going to play a role in an organization. I have brought this particular analysis from McKinsey's study. They have interviewed close to 190 CFOs across the various industry segments globally. And you can see that the traditional finance function like accounting, controlling, budgeting, planning, analysis, which I explained, that has got reduced to 45%. The other areas has taken a big role of 41%, and specialty finance like treasury, tax, and all of the things, it is 40%. So, to what extent it is shrinking, you can imagine. And on the right hand side, what you see is the areas where CFOs playing a role. That's in strategic leadership, organizational transformation, performance management, capital allocation, big data analytics. This is one of the recent development because of the Industry 4.0. Finance capabilities. You can see that how it is shrinking, and the big roles are coming in different areas. Moving to the emerging roles of CFO, let us understand first what is the organizational objectives and where CFO is placed, what are the pillars for sustaining an organization. So as you know that, if we put in big buckets, there are commercial enterprise where the objective is economic value creation, enhancement of shareholder value, where the revenue growth, profitability is the key matter. Then there are other organizations like charitable institutions, which has got a different objective. It's not profit making. Then you have different trusts, religious institutions, and governmental organizations, etc., where as an organization, by its charter or its memorandum itself, that particular entity has been formed with a different objective. So here, when we talk about the CFO's role, we are largely focusing on the commercial entity with the objective of creating economic value and enhancing the shareholders' value creation. So in today's environment, CFOs mostly is the connecting link between the investors, board of directors, and they play a key role in the board. So the strategic pillars which a CFO play the role is coming to strategy, then into the governance, then into the risk management and digital transformation. There was a recent survey also on this and to what extent the involvement of CFOs are there in various functions of an organization. Close to 6 different functions like supply chain, operations, and all started reporting to the CFO, and the CFO's responsibilities getting wider and wider day by day. So, as I explained to you before, and from being a number man, he has completely moved into a different role where he will complement the role of the CEO and see that the organization is driven with sustainable objectives and long-term objectives and creating value to the shareholders. So we will touch upon briefly on each of the pillars and where he plays a role, what is his advantage, and in the changing these roles, how the CFO needs to upskill himself to meet these new demands. So let's talk about the strategy first. So this is the greatest, I think, stepping forward. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is noise before defeat. So it clearly indicates the importance of strategy. We need to have a strategy. When organization has got an objective, the strategy should be built around its corporate objectives. And just defining the strategy alone is not enough. And the second sentence, what it says that tactics also need to be there. So which will be transferred into an executional part. The strategy is there, and then you execute that strategy, divide it in different manners, and take it forward. So we will see in the coming slides how that is done and how the CFO is playing a critical role in that. So the growth strategy, as you know, it has got different areas. Like an organization, when it is in any economic situation, it will be pulled by the normal economic growth and the demand situations in any economy, that is an organic growth. So it will continue to grow, and when there is a dip, and it will go down also. This is a normal situation. But the organization, as the management team, has to see that how it is going to bring a strategy to enhance the shareholders' value and to make it sustainable, so that different strategies have been brought. So you can see that in the center that it is the growth, organizational growth strategy. On the right-hand side, expansions. So the expansion, a company and an organization, if it is into particular segment, it continues to serve a particular segment of services, goods to a particular segment of customers, and it has an option to enhance its share of wallet with various customers within that particular segment itself, and it has got the option to expand its geographical areas, etc. That is fitting on one plan. So it is very important to see that how we are going to bring enough growth into the business period to period and drive a long-term strategy into an organization. So the second part, diversification. So most of the companies know when it starts with certain business, and over a period of time, it evolves and it looks to the areas where it can put its resources and diversify and synchronize more into its core business. When I'm saying the diversification, it's not completely going away from its core business. It will definitely define its core business and what are the areas that it can diversify and leverage the potential and use its assets in a better manner. And the other growth strategies which is there is mergers and acquisitions. So the companies look for acquiring different companies who are in the players, because there will be different. Every organization is fighting for the same piece of cake, you know. So sometimes there will be stagnation in the market. No? You people always keep on listening that no, there is tough competition, and organization is not able to grow. So in those situations, what strategy that need to adopt, and many things, and you know that such acquisition has happened, and they integrate into their business. And the next one on the bottom side, you can see that the joint venture. Here, organization critically see how it can leverage different technology if it is required to grow further in the business. Certain technological advancement is required. So who are the right technology partners in the business, or if it is facing an issue with the finance, there will be financial partners, or there will be different kind of arrangements to be part of the business. So these are the four big buckets where the organization leverages and bring the strategy for the growth. So before moving to that, I would like to give you some more insight. In any of the situations, when a particular action has been decided and linked to the long-term objectives, it has to be converted into executable plans within a short span of time, where the CFO plays a critical role in developing the organization strategy and align the organization, link the strategy to the different functional areas. Like, for example, if somebody decided to expand into a different region and put up its own footprint, then there are a lot of things that need to be aligned among the organization. It is not that he is going and doing everything. So we need to areas so the people know what need to be executed and what is the time plan. Another thing, the operating plan within that, when these things are given, how it is getting to be executed within that, to be yes, micro level, because everywhere the resources is the key, and there is the allocable resources will be very limited, and he has to prioritize his plan, allocate the resources, and what can be done and what can be put on hold or when it can be executed. Then definitely, he also, with the help of the data and the current information system, he also monitor and see that what is the progress. So this way, his role is very big in driving the growth into the business. The second big ticket item, the governance strategy. So when we talk about the governance, it is setting the tone from the top, which drives the business in a right manner. So in the normal course of the business, the organization does this, but to what extent it is so enough to ensure the different challenges faced by the organization, that is very, very critical. You can see that when the governance comes, we talked about the growth, investment, and all. The investment committees will be sitting, and the policies and procedures which govern the rules and what to be done, without which, so that people knows as a guiding factor which are the things that need to be complied. And definitely, when these things are happening in an organization, there will be audit committees sitting and understanding how it is getting executed in lab. So CFOs take the chair in some of the committees, and we need to bring data onto the table and see that in each and every area it is rightly focused and governed properly. So by creating the policies and procedures, he creates a structure within the organization and leads the organization in a guided manner. For example, if you wanted to move from one city to another, for example, from Palakkad to Bangalore, and each and every step, if you take a different turn, and you will not end at the, you will not be reaching there. So it is a guided way. That's why you drive this particular road in a particular speed and reach there. It is quite easy. And it is guided in a proper manner. So he brings a lot of knowledge on the table when it comes to setting up the procedures, controls within that. That committee will be there who is governing the overall organizational requirements. And then coming to the ethical committee, oversees. There will be different people sitting on the board, so that there is no conflict of interest. People are remunerated properly, and the communication partner when there is a conflict of interest and everything, how it is communicated, there is a proper governance structure within the ethical committee as well. So here also he brings his expertise into those committees and put his views and how it will be an impediment to the organizational objectives, or how it helps an organization, and he gives a greater contribution in that level as well. So the next level is the risk management framework. So every company has to have a robust risk management to drive its business so that there are no surprises coming in. Here, there will be, in many big organizations, there will be chief risk officers. What is the advantage a CFO has got? He is holding a pivotal role where he understands the entire operational functions, whether it is supply chain, procurement, operations, finance, everything. So even though chief, chief risk officer is there, the CFO has to play a good role in managing the risk of an organization and to bring a right framework. Though the framework which I have shown you, it is from the Committee of Sponsoring State Commission, which they have given the framework for the risk management. So the first step, as you see that in the risk management, is the risk identification. So before getting into the micro level, a CFO has got a broad visibility about the financial and operational risk which is involved in an organization, right? So you may be quite familiar with the financial risk, right? When it comes to the liquidity risk, credit risk, or interest-based risk compliance and all those stuff. And when it comes to the operational risk also, he has to see that process risk, supply chain risk, and other risk which is associated with the operation. So he has got a good visibility on all this. So his contribution in the risk management framework, that is very critical, and he plays a key role. So in the risk management framework, and he plays a role in identification of the risks that are assessed, based on any organization's ability to hold and of that organization. What are the risks that is associated within their business? Then coming to the risk assessment part, when any risk or anything happen, what is the likelihood of happening? Whether it is happen anytime in the near future, or there is remote likely to happen. What is the impact of that in terms of companies? Some of the risks, it will be like losing the customers. And I will touch upon one good example when this pandemic situation has happened, how we have managed the situation, how we have responded to the risk, what measures that we have taken, what are the activities that we did, so which will give you a good insight rather than being more verbal. So the risk assessment goes to that part, what is impacting the business and how it is getting, and what is the likelihood of happening. Then the risk response, how quickly the response can be done. And it holds the three parts, how risk can be avoided, how to reduce the risk, how to accept the risk, and then deciding what part can be taken internally, or to what extent it can be given, can be as well. Then definitely the control activities, which ensures the required policies and procedures are getting established to ensure that the risk responses are carried out. So within the control activities, whatever that is the response required when such eventualities happen, what are the things that need to be done. Then another critical part is like information communication, which is going across the organization. Unless the organization from top to bottom, they understand how this need to be done and what are the expected from each and everyone. Unless these things are clear, it will be the response and the action time will be shorter, and organization cannot react. So the communication cascading it to the entire organization is also very critical. Definitely, the another part is monitoring and identification of these things and know when a risk is identified and it is happening, how it is getting executed, what are the measures we have taken. These are the things, the broad framework. So here, as a CFO, he has got a wider responsibility. If you remember the first slide when I started, making a sustainable organization and enhancing the value, unless these things are addressed, the sustainability will be a question mark at any point in time. So before getting into the next big ticket item, I would like to give you one example of how we have coped up with the pandemic situation. We are here the manufacturers of rigid packaging items, and we cater to the essential sectors and like food, beverages, personal home care, then other applications. So we have good clientele, multinational customers. Here, the pandemic started coming up in the mid of February, and by mid of March, it was very evident that organization has to do something to cope up. So they have, when I say the government has rolled out the strict plan to contain the diseases, and certain non-essential sectors, they have gone for a complete close-down, which like maybe the gyms or the leisure entertainment parks and all, which is all a non-essential thing. When it comes to the manufacturing sector, especially supplying the essential commodities and supporting the basic life of the people, government has to support by allowing those entities to operate. So, in any organization, people, they have the resource and they are very important, and their life also. So we have confronted with a situation, how to ensure that our customers are not affected. We need to ensure that there is business continuity. In no way it is impacting their business, so that as a key player, we continue to support their business as well. At the same time, the other part of the game is that when the people are coming together, we being a manufacturing company, the people need to be on offload, and people have to come and work, and they will be close. How we are going to manage all these situations, right? There are guidelines because starting from everything, like how the people will be coming to the office, how the people will be staying, ensuring social distancing, when they are in the office, what are the things that they need to do, even taking the food also, like we have a dining area, all these things has become very, very important and challenging. People use the transport, most of the, around 90% of the people, they come in a common transport. Then there also the social distancing, government has issued the guidelines, this many number of, so to ensure that the business continuity is there and your customers are protected, your interest is protected, your people are protected, and any organization, the last hour, the 11th hour, it cannot search for the remedies and respond to such situations. So we have a very good governance in place to address and to respond to this. We have created a good team to ensure that any incident that is reported will be taken care of, and we have hired the vehicles to ensure that the people keep adequate distances. We have ensured that within, I think, 3 to 4 hours time, we have ensured that the sanitation tunnels are put in place so that before the people walking to the company, they are screened, they are sanitized completely, and the workplace hygiene. What are the situations It is not a normal situation. So a clear guideline, what need to do, so everybody and cascading this information across the organization, that is also happened in a very quick and speedy manner. So this helped us to support our customer and be responded well. So this is just, I'm giving one example of having a sober governance and risk management framework. I will move to the next one, which is the digital transformation. So CFO, he sits in the center of all functional leaders, and he knows across the business what is happening, starting from its revenue, what is the cost, how many people are there, what is its capital, what is its disposable resources, what is his earning per share, everything he knows, without moving from his chair. He knows and he understands the supply chain operation, everything. And he is the center of all the functional leaders. And this particular privilege comes with additional responsibilities in taking the organization to a different level, and we need to play a key role. So the another advantage by holding that position is he has to play a key role in integrating the process. He knows entire the process, the different functions, how it is integrated to the business, how it is supporting the main objectives. So he has to play a key role in the digital transformation as well, because now most of the things what we were doing before, that gets automated. But when we say that gets automated, there is a cost benefit leverage. Everything for the sake of having a technology, we cannot just bring a technology. But at the same time, those technologies which gives an additional advantage to the organization in terms of better productivity, better handling the data, real-time information, quick decision making, all these areas, CFO is called for to justify to what extent the digitalization or the digital transformation pays to the organization. Ultimately, the shareholders, they are interested in the bottom line. They will see at one line, okay, I'm doing all these things, and what is there for me? That's the question. So the CFO need to understand how it adds value to the organization, to what extent he can go. Here, I wanted to emphasize one thing, like for you to understand it in a more manner. Most of the things, what we used to do when it comes to the larger data, like account payable process, creating the liability, right? Bank reconciliation process, because most of the companies, you know that the online companies, e-commerce companies, they will have huge data. We also have huge data here when it comes to the payable, receivables, and bank transactions, cash management. All these things, we have a huge data. So the reconciliation process, etc. It used to take huge amount of time in the previous time. Now, there is a system, that the ERP system which holds the entire data, but there are different middlewares, which supports the ERP system and completes this. Sorry, I could hear some noise in between. So I'm coming to the last part, like the change. We started from the change, and CFO plays an effective role on building a resilient organization which can anticipate, prepare for, and adapt to the incremental change and sudden disruptions, and ensure the organization is agile and sustainable in all the situations and delivers its best performance. So here, this is the change, what we are talking about. So he needs to upskill himself to meet all these challenges. He needs to upskill his team. He needs to see that all the organizational setups and the people related are to what extent it is upskilled and ready to take this change. So a resilient organization, it has got the ability to ensure the business continuity and to recover from any disaster and ensure it service continuity and manage the risk, and those incidents will be managed carefully. So these are the overall structure. So this is the conclusion that I wanted to tell, that today it is not just being a number man, and CFO is continuously playing a very big role in driving the organization, bringing the value, and we need to be completely focused in all the areas where it supports the business. So he complements the CEO and he supports the business in a larger extent. So with this, I would like to conclude. I believe the session was useful to you, and thank you very much for being with me. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the management team of Lokshetra Institute of Management Studies in giving me this opportunity to present the changing role of CFO in front of you. Thank you very much. Now we can open for the question and answer session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. It was very highly informative one. So students, if you
Thank
have any,
you.
okay, sir. Students, if there is any queries, you can ask now. You can active in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask your questions. The students are giving very good feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Okay.
Another important thing, which I wanted to mention, like I'm also from the same place, and it gives me an immense pleasure to talk with my people.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. Since there is no,
I think we have not overshooted the time, I believe.
no, sir. It's correct.
All right. Thank you.
Sir, since there is no queries from the students, can we move to the official vote of thanks?
Yeah,
Now,
sure, please.
now invite Miss Gobika from 2nd BCom CA for the official vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to all. On behalf of Yogshetra, I sincerely take this opportunity to thank Mr. Murali Manohar sir for giving us an delightful session on changing role of CFO. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. We are very fortunate to be a part of your session. Your presentation was really dynamic and it filled our mind with curiosity and amusement. Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our director, Reverend Dr. Matthew George Warrell, our principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony, and our vice principal, Reverend Dr. Lalu Ulikal, for the enthusiastic support. Also, a big thank you to Ms. Matilda Dani, HOD of Commerce Department, for conducting this fabulous program and for your assistance. A special thanks to Ms. Aishwarya AB, the program coordinator and also assistant professor of Commerce Department, for your sincere support in making this session a big success. I would like to take this moment to acknowledge all faculty of Commerce Department for the immense contribution. I am also very grateful to thank all the participants for showing your wholehearted cooperation and countenance. I once again thank Mr. Murali Manohar sir for spending your valuable time for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Have
Once
a
again,
fantastic day ahead.
okay, sir. Once again, thanking all participants and our resource person, Mr. Murali Manohar, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative and wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Dear participants, the feedback form is in the chat box. You can fill it out. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.